Now there are different types of coal. If we go back to coal, the main three are lignite, bituminous, and anthracite, but you also have the subbituminous as well. Lignite is the softest. It produces the least amount of heat. It is browner in color. You can find it in North Dakota, and North Dakota is the largest producer. Subbituminous is intermediate between lignite and bituminous. Low heat once again, and low sulfur content. And lignite has high sulfur content. And sulfur is bad because when you burn coal, the sulfur gets into the atmosphere and then can cause sulfuric acid, which then precipitates down and changes the pH of the rain, causing acid rain. So subbituminous can be found in Alaska, Montana, and Wyoming. Bituminous, which is the soft coal, contains sulfur, which burn can cause severe environmental problems. And then last but not least, anthracite, which is the best. Anthracite is very hard coal, produces the highest amount of heat. It's considered the highest grade and burns the cleanest. States with the most is Mississippi, produces... east of the Mississippi River, East of the Mississippi produce anthracite, but most of the anthracite in the United States has already been mined out and consumed. So here there's a nice little diagram looking at the types. You got peat, which is not really coal, it's like the before coal. Lignite, bituminous, and anthracite. Percent of water, right? Peat's got the most, anthracite the least. Volatile. Carbon percent here, let's look at this one. This one's good for most amount of carbon is anthracite, and that goes along with its hardness. And then heat value. You can see that the anthracite has the highest amount of heat value, and then lignite, bituminous being under that. Looking here at the states of origin, anthracite, you find a lot of it in Pennsylvania, bituminous, Maryland, subbituminous, Washington, lignite, you'll find in North Dakota, peat, and Mississippi. Coal across the world is mainly found in the northern hemisphere. Underline that. Mainly northern hemisphere of the world. The United States, Russia, and China, India, and Germany, and South Africa, and Australia have the highest quantities. U.S. has 25% of the world's coal supply, and the World's Resource Institute says that we have left somewhere around a 200-year supply of coal if we continue to consume at current rates. Here you have a open pit coal mine. You can see the very dark black color for carbon. And then here you can see the quantities, proven reserves, Asia, Europe and Russia, North America, West Europe, Africa, and Central and South America. A couple different ways of getting coal out of the ground. We've got one, surface mines, alright, and surface mines like that picture you just saw. Also can be called strip minings, where they make big open pits. 60% of U.S. coal mines are surface mines. Advantages: it's cheaper and safer for miners and allows the complete removal of the coal. Disadvantages: it disrupts the land more extensively than subsurfaces because you have this big hole that you dig out. Subsurface mining, which is below the ground. Think of the Chilean miners getting trapped under there, so it's very dangerous for miners. And 40% of U.S. coal mines are subsurface. And then you have mountaintop removal, which actually is not used that frequently at all anymore, at least in the United States, where most of the land, most destructive type of mining is where they basically remove the top of a mountain to get at the coal below. A couple diagrams showing subsurface here, and then surface mining. Subsurface is where they make the caverns go down, they get their coal reserves at different areas. Very dangerous for miners. And then here is an open surface strip mining. which can be very environmentally destructive. A couple safety problems associated with coal. In the 20th century, 90,000 American coal miners died because of this industry. There is an increased risk of cancer if you are a coal miner being exposed to all the hydrocarbons, and black lung disease. And what the black lung disease does is it decreases the exchange of oxygen between the lungs and the bloodstream. So if you can't get as much oxygen, individuals cannot function as well. So black lung disease is a huge concern. Here's a picture of mountaintop removal. You can see here that this used to have a mountain and they completely took it off. Certain environmental impacts of mining for coal. You have landslides that can occur. This does not have a coal mine near it, but showing what a landslide destruction can do. But here you could just look with this open area with this loose soil. If you have rain coming in here, this stuff will just easily wash with it. High walls, depending if you're doing a subsurface, or not subsurface, but a surface mine, you've got these high walls where if someone walking at night's not looking, they can fall. Disruption of topography, which disruption of the land, you've now got this big hole. And then the erosion of topsoil, which we saw from the last chapter, looking at how long it takes for topsoil to form, and if you don't have that topsoil, you can't really grow vegetation. And when you remove vegetation from an area, that topsoil can erode very easily. Here's showing a nice little diagram of coal mining, some problems with it. You've got subsurface mine here, and you've got a surface mine here. When you have that surface mine, if you expose this land underneath, you can have different minerals in here that should remain trapped in here. But if you expose them and rain comes down, you can have toxic metals or heavy metals that are then washed off or run off into streams and then get into the streams. Like mercury gets into the water this way. Leaching may carry acids into the soil and groundwater supply, so you can contaminate groundwater supply. Acid mine drainage plus water and iron sulfates produce iron oxide and sulfuric acid, which can be hazardous. So to make sure that miners, or not young people, but people that mine, don't completely destroy the land, the Surface Mining and Control Reclamation Act was put into enforcement, and this basically says that mine sites must be restored so it can be productive for other uses after they're done, which means that they have to backfill the area, so fill it up, cover up the hole, recontour. Also recontour, topsoil spread back out so planting of new plants can occur. And sedimentation ponds must be in place that will contain sediment-laden runoff so that those oil spoils, the runoff spoils, will not go into rivers and lakes. And then removal of those toxic spoils.